had a good weekend and you're ready to join me today. We're going to be looking at the untapped market in the Australian population and the percentages of people with disability and impairment in Australia, and how businesses and services are affecting them personally. Now, so grab a cup of tea, coffee, something to eat along the way, and we can get started. Okay, acknowledgement of country. 30-foot drop acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognises their continuing connection to land, waters, and the community. We pay our respects to the Indigenous people, to their beliefs, cultures, to the elders past and present. 30-foot drop funding. 30-foot drop would like to acknowledge the Department of Communities Disability Services for funding this and many other initiatives. Without their help, so many projects such as Two Wise Monkeys wouldn't see the light of day, and we'd be much more poorer for it as a community. So we're very grateful for that funding. This workshop is part of a Realities and Advantages of an Access and Inclusion grant awarded to 30-foot drop as part of the Information Linkages and Capacity Building grant awarded for 2018 and 2019. Let's go over some Two Wise Monkeys housekeeping. Unfortunately, we do not have all the resources to monitor all of our live streaming platforms. So if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, you won't be able to ask anything directly through those platforms, any questions, sorry. But if you do have some questions, there's a link below this video, which is www.30footdrop.com.au, and through that link you can go into the live chat box and ask any questions that you may have. We'll be covering a lot of information in a short period of time, so we ask attendees to try and minimise any distractions that you might have around you, which is easier said than done in this current time. But yeah, there's a lot of information to take in, and if you do miss it, you can go back and rewatch this video. And if you talk about 30-foot drop or the Two Wise Monkeys workshops, please tag us and share it all around, because the more people that know about what we're doing, the more changes we can make in the community. And like I said before, we'll be recording the session, so you will be able to go back and watch it again if you've missed anything. And all the research that we use in our webinars, all the sources and everything like that are all available to look into further on our website. So go to the 30-foot drop website if you wanted to look at any of the reports or stats or sources that we go over. There's so much information to be read, and it's really, really interesting. As well, if you know anyone that might benefit from these webinars, please let them know, get them to sign up. We run 3 every week until the end of June, and there's 6 parts, so please join us for all of these, because they're all very different, and we talk about different topics to do with disability and impairment. So all of those topics are going to help you as a business or service do better in the community for people with disability and impairment. At the end of the webinar, we do have a short survey that we would be really grateful if you guys could fill that out for us. There's only about 5 questions. The more feedback we can get, the better. So please head over there once we're done. So just follow the link below this video, and that will take you to the survey, and hit survey part 3, which is what we are doing today. Okay, let me introduce myself. I am Lisa, and I am one of the Two Wise Monkeys. I am Hear No Evil. So hopefully after today you will hear no evil about impairment. My impairment is more of a hidden one. At the age of 8, I was diagnosed with mild dyslexia. Teachers used to hit me on the head, read out my low marks in front of my classmates, and make me feel completely dumb and unworthy. But despite these challenges growing up, I was so determined to prove these teachers wrong. I did really well in art. I travelled all around the world with my arts diploma. I have a counselling diploma. I also have a museum grade certificate where I can work with in museums and look after the artwork, fine artwork. I organised exhibitions, did all the marketing, all the catering. And I've also had my own exhibitions where I've painted and sold photography. So if you do have a learning disability or something like that, don't let other people stop you from doing what you want to do, because everyone is good at something. Everyone's got that passion and that drive. It's just a matter of finding what that passion is. It shouldn't matter if you're not good at spelling or maths. There's a lot more to life than being an amazing speller or an amazing mathematician. I mean, what did I really need maths for? To be creative. But mind you, in the picture framing side of it, which I did for 12 years, it's quite funny. There was actually quite a lot of maths and numbers. So I probably became quite a lot better at maths from just doing that. And my memory for remembering numbers, like I can remember some of the codes and everything. It's how much I had to do. But yeah, it's amazing when you find that passion and how much more confident you can be within yourself. So there's help out there. Find your passion and don't give up. Now, the other wise monkey is Ben, and he is the director of 30 Foot Drop and the Two Wise Monkeys workshops. He is the brains behind these projects. And through him, after he had his accident, he realised that people just don't know enough about disability and impairment. So we can't get too mad at them because no one's teaching it. So that is why we are here running these workshops, because we want people to be aware of people with disability and impairment and how certain things within your business or marketing, all sorts of things are affecting people with disability and impairment. They want to be able to do everything that we're doing. They want to enjoy life and go on holidays and buy certain things. We're all the same and we all deserve that chance to be equal. Okay, so when you look at the monkeys, we've got see no evil, hear no evil. Where is speak no evil? You guys can just take a minute there and think about who might be the third monkey. Yes, it is you. The aim of today's workshop is to turn you into the wise monkey. You'll begin on a journey of realising, impairment or not, we are all human and deserve to be treated and acknowledged in the same way as everyone else. And also, if you really did want to become that third monkey today, we do have these beautiful t-shirts now available on our website. The 30 Foot Drop logo on the back. Those are available on our website. They're really popular. They're available in the colours behind me, which are black and white, and they start from size 5 kid size to 5XL adult size. And they, I get stopped in the street, where did you get your t-shirt from? They're very unique and they're very stylish. Okay, so let's go over the outline and method of today's workshop. So how are we going to get you started on the path of a wise monkey? Well, there's a lot to learn about people with impairment and their potential impacts on your business, positive and negative. We're going to examine the size of the market segment and what people with impairment represent, explaining who they are and their potential customer base. Then we will examine the potential impacts they can have on your business, both positive and negative. After covering all the good stuff, we will do an open forum where people can ask questions and we can talk about that. And then we will head over to the survey. Now, how are we going to do this? What will our teaching method be? And the answer is always fun and open, honest discussion. If we can't be open and honest about the things that affect us, to do with disability and impairment, then changes can't be made. The more open and honest we can be about our feelings, then we can put it forward and make changes. You'll notice as well that there's very little written content on the slides, and that's because we want you to be able to follow along easily. We want you to interact easily. If we've got too much wording on there, it's hard to keep up, it could be confusing, but it also makes it nice and easy for people with a hearing impairment or vision impairment. And if you do have a hearing impairment and you would like subtitles, you can head over to the Facebook platform. So head over to 30 Foot Drop on Facebook. And if you turn the sound down on your iPad or your phone, whatever you're watching it from, computer, it will come up with subtitles, which is amazing. So it's just nice and easy to follow, and we do not believe in death by PowerPoint. So let's get into it. First off, I will be talking about some terminologies that people use and get a bit confused with. So the first two are disability and impairment. First up, I will talk about impairment. An impairment is an injury, illness, or congenital condition that causes or is likely to cause a loss or difference of physiological and psychological function. In short, your impairment is your medical diagnosis. So my medical diagnosis is that I have mild dyslexia. A disability, on the other hand, is the loss or limitation to take part in opportunities as on an equal level to others due to social and environmental barriers. It is, as the word implies, something that makes you unable to access or participate in something. So an example was someone with a severe or mild learning disability. These things could make them unable to access your business or service. So too much wording, complex information, or stylized script can sometimes make it hard for people with a learning disability to understand, which makes it hard for them to get the right information that they need to use your business or service. This is especially important to remember because some people's impairments are hidden. So they could be potentially missing out on what your business or service has to offer because your website is too complex or your marketing is too complex. It's hard to navigate. They can't figure it out. And in that case, they'll probably just give up. So making it easy to read and understand is very, very important on every single platform that you use because people with disability and impairment aren't likely to use it. Okay, now the next is the difference between access and inclusion. Let's look at access first. Access refers to the removal or reduction of barriers, physical and attitudinal, to participate in all activities and functions of a community. At its core, access focuses on the physical world around us and can be accessed by a checklist. Now, we do have that checklist available on our website if you wanted to go around your business or service and check that it is accessible. And what I mean by that is, are your door frames wide enough for someone with a mobility issue to get in the door? Are the door handles at a good reach for every single person to get in the door? You don't want a high round doorknob where someone in a wheelchair can't even get in through the door. So it's little things like that some people may not be even aware of, but these little things really do affect someone with a disability or impairment. They're not even able to use your business. So very important, and you can head over to our website and have a look at the checklist. There's a lot more on there than just those two things that you might want to check. Now, inclusion. This is a more psychological state of being and is the process hereby every person, irrespective of their age, disability, gender, sexual preference, or nationality, who wishes to, can participate fully in all activities or a service in the same way as everyone else. Inclusion is making sure that every single person is included in your business, service, or event. So it shouldn't matter how they appear, what they look like, what their nationality is. Everyone needs to be included within your business, and they need to be made to feel that they are included. So that is what inclusion is about. It's about making people feel included. So hopefully those 4 terms make sense to you. If you have any questions, please head over to our website and jump in the live box and ask any questions that you might have. Now we will be getting into today's topics, which is the untapped market. Okay, let's get into the good stuff. Okay, women's sportswear. Recognizing the market. Here is a business idea. Ignore a potential market. That's what many sports and athletic related businesses did until they realized in the mid-1990s, not that long ago, that they had been passing on a goldmine. Women. Yes, you know, half the population that some thought should just be playing with Barbie dolls and prams. Well, in the 1990s, this was a turning point for the NBC's 1996 Olympic Games coverage, which targeted women and sports much more than previously, and many more female-orientated sports advertisements, apparel and equipment lines emerged. So imagine that. Women would actually be interested in doing the same thing as every other human, such as sports, or wearing sports clothes, or being in sports advertisements. Well, could many other businesses be ignoring and missing out on this other potential market? Consider, for example, a population that has clear, persistent needs that are not being adequately fulfilled. This population spans the world and is growing and includes very motivated and loyal customers. Since this population is currently being underserved and misunderstood by many businesses, many of these lost customers would be very grateful and loyal to your business if you would just meet their needs. This is a population that has an estimated disposable income of 54 million and growing Australia-wide. Also consider how margins are always tight and that finding a new and neglected population can help boost your business. So let's have a look at what is this population, and especially at this current time, a lot of businesses are struggling and you're going to need to find that unserved market. And if you're watching here today, it could be very exciting for you because you could open up a whole new market to your business, and that is people with disability and impairment. So let's have a look at the population of people with disability and impairment and how it all affects them. Okay, here is the Australian population, all 100%. Now, there are approximately 5% of the Australian population living with a severe or profound impairment. These are people who require or have difficulty with mobility, communication and care. Add to this 5% another 4%, and this is now the unpaid primary carers of the people with impairment or disability. So you now have a 9% of the population potentially missing out on your products and services because your business is not meeting the needs of someone with disability and impairment. So it's not just the people with impairment. It goes up and up and up with all the other people around that person helping them and being there for them. Okay, so that is a fair share, and it doesn't even include the families and friends who accompany this 9%. So it doesn't include the person with the disability, then their carer or their loved one looking after them, then the rest of their family. It just gets bigger and bigger, and now the percentage is 9%. So 9% missing out on your business or service potentially. Now, let's move on to the next one. You may ask, if it is such a big market share, then surely their needs are already being served. Aren't there items such as events such as the Paralympic Games every 4 years for those with disabilities? Yes, there is those. But it's a bit like saying to women who wanted to play sports in the 1970s, yeah, but don't you have hopscotch? While some businesses do seem to understand the market of people with disabilities, many businesses do not. And that is what our message is about today. Getting the message out there that so many businesses just do not understand. And we are here to make you aware of that. Okay, so here's some research. Deloitte and the Australian Human Rights Commission released a report in 2017 titled The Missing Out Report. This was a business case for customer diversity, and in it they presented their research findings about the missed opportunities that occur when businesses do not extend their values of fairness and equality and respect to those diverse customer bases. This research covered the diversity areas of gender equality, marriage equality, people with impairment, age, cultural diversity, and practicing a noticeable faith. It is well worth reading and can be found in our resource library. The findings in there will shock you, and it really, really makes you understand how much they are missing out on. It's really, really, really awful. So get in there and read that. Now we're going to look at the graphs and look at the results that have been done in a study from all around the world and how it affects how businesses and the way that they're treating people are affecting us. So let's look at the results that focus on impairment and if businesses are meeting the needs of this market. Graph 1. Here is the findings that they had. As a customer, more people with impairment are finding that places often do not provide the products and services that they need. So that's 35% of people with impairment that are not getting the products and services that they need. And 27% are people that don't have an impairment but also feel this way. So those numbers are definitely getting up there and really, really unfair that people with impairment and disability are feeling that like we're not meeting their needs, and that needs to change, and so important right now to change. Graph 2. As a customer, over a quarter of people with impairment usually have a fear of rejection or embarrassment when interacting with businesses. That is a lot of scared customers. And ask yourself, do scared customers like to spend money? Somehow I don't think so. So these people probably aren't even coming into your business or service because they feel like they will be rejected or made to feel embarrassed, which is really, really sad. Okay, graph 3. As a customer over the last 12 months, I was often treated less favourably than other customers based on certain characteristics that I have. That's 1 in 3 people with an impairment or disability treated this way by a company because of their disability or impairment. Once again, really awful. And 38%, that's once again really, really high. And we want to bring that down. So graph 4. This one shocked us the most. The last one is getting discriminated against by one or more organisation. This is crazy. It's almost 30% of people that feel like they are being discriminated against by a company or business. Crazy figures. Once again, you are not going to spend money in a business that treats you that way. These stats show that there is definitely a market that is not having its needs met. Next, let's have a look at who this market is And who are the people behind the stats? People with impairment are just people, just like anyone else. We have passions, we have loves, we have families. We purchase consumer goods, we purchase food, clothing, cars, we go to the movies, we go out for dinner, and we go on holidays. And we have hobbies. But for some sad reason, we are treated differently. In short, people with an impairment are active contributors to the community and the economy. And as a result, we represent a market share to businesses and organisations. Because we are a market share, we are also able to impact your business. But how we impact that is up to you. So it's about making these changes so that people with disability and impairment can feel like they can come and use your business and not feel discriminated against. They still like to go out for dinner. They still want to go to the movies. They want to spend money. Okay, let's have a look now at the potential impacts. So the impacts that this can have on your business. It's only a minority and ethical consumerism. When it comes to minorities, people can often say, it's only a minority. There isn't enough of them to make a difference. As discussed earlier, we can safely say it's about 9% of the population, and what research has found is that people with an impairment are a decisive and influential minority. Let's have a closer look at the results and go back over some of the missing out reports stats, some other missing out report stats. Okay, next is the ceasing transactions. Over the last 12 months, I have ceased a transaction because I felt I was treated unfairly. As we all know, purchasing power is in the hands of the customer, and when people don't get what they want in terms of product or service, they cease a transaction. So that's 29% of people with an impairment or disability ceasing a transaction because of the way they were treated. In the missing out report, they examine this closely and add other factors into it, such as fairness and respect. Graph 2. The results in this report show that 1 in 5 customers without impairment will cease a transaction. This jumps to 1 in 3 customers for people with impairment or disability, showing that a negative experience is more likely to happen and drive a customer away. Crazy. Dissuading others. Now, this one's interesting. More than just walking away from that sale, people with impairment or disability are twice as likely to dissuade others from using your business or service. Twice as likely. It's not what you want as a business owner. Basically, if your customer is not treating, if your company is not treating your customers with fairness, respect, and being inclusive, then your business is already being affected. If your business is treating people like that, then they are telling everyone else around them, and you're losing a lot of business. So it's more than just reaching that market. There's other reasons for reaching that market, other reasons than making them feel included and your business being accessible. There's also the fact that they're going to go and tell everyone that it's not inclusive or it's not accessible. Okay, last graph. I have been asked in the past if supporting diversity in businesses can have a negative effect. Can it drive my current customers away? The missing out report that found that yes, 12% of people were negatively affected by the business's diversity reputation, but 58% were positively affected, and the other 30% weren't too worried. Yes, you may lose that 12% of customers, but you will gain so much more by being fair and inclusive. This result was not only impairment specific, but also includes other minorities such as marriage equality, people with impairment, and older people. But those are all the people you want to come into your business anyway. So you're making them included. Okay, the key findings to these 4 graphs. To finish this section off, I want to read to you the really relevant key findings. Customers with an impairment are 3 times more likely to avoid an organisation and twice as likely to dissuade others because of an organisation's negative diversity reputation. There is a good chance that if your business isn't accessible or inclusive, then your business is already being negatively affected. We've covered the possible negative effects, but let's now look at some of the positive effects that you can have by introducing some systems into your businesses. Let's look at ethical consumerism. What is ethical consumerism? Ethical consumerism is a form of political activism based on the ideas that purchasers and markets consume not only goods but also implicitly embrace the process used to produce them. By choosing certain products over others or even whether to purchase them at all. Consumers can embrace or reject a particular product because of their environmental or labour practices that make Customers can embrace or reject particular environmental and labour practices and make other valuable claims based on the ethical values that they hold. Exercising choice in this way creates incentives for producers to make production practices which conform with consumers' values. Successful campaigns waged by ethical consumerism movements have popularised dolphin-free tuna, foods that are free from GMOs, sweatshop-free clothing, fair trade coffee, and cosmetics free from animal testing and conflict-free diamonds. So you could choose a product because of the values that it holds. I want this certain diamond because it's not been bought from the black market. You want a pure diamond, or you want makeup that hasn't been tested on animals. So once the word gets out there that that's what the people want, then everyone goes down that road. So that's what we want to do with disability and impairment. We want to create that road where it becomes the norm for them to be accepted and included, where it should be already. But that is why we are here today. Okay, implying impairment. So how can ethical consumerism be connected to people with impairment? Who here has heard of the quiet hour at Coles? Which was also adopted by Woolworths not long after, of course. For those then that haven't, let me explain. Some impairments make people hyper-aware of their surroundings, making activities such as going to the supermarket very challenging. At Coles and Woolworths, every Tuesday between 10:30 and 11:30, store lighting is dimmed by 50%, radios are switched off, registers and scanner volumes are put to the lowest level, trolley collections are stopped, roll cages are removed from the shop floor, and PA announcements are stopped. Except in case, of course, if there's an emergency. Free fruit is offered to customers and additional team members are there to help. This is an amazing initiative and makes a great difference to many, many people. It has also increased the ethical reputation of Woolworths and Coles, and if you research the internet, you will see it's been published all over Australia. And how do you think it has affected consumers? So positively. It would be so nice to know that if you had a disability or impairment and you struggled to get to the shops as it is, and some people find if there's too many people or it's too loud, they don't want to go in there. So to have that chance where they can go in there and it's all quiet and they can do their shopping, or they can go in there and there's help that they need. So important, and maybe you as a business could start offering that service. It's all about creating these services so that more and more people do it and it becomes the norm, like I said before. I know I would love it. I'd love to go in at that time, But it's important that at that time we do give the opportunity to people with disability and impairment. And it's only for an hour, and it just makes a difference to so many people. And even with the virus happening, when they opened up the supermarkets for the elderly for a certain time, even that was a little bit the same, and they would have liked to been able to been given first choice to the toilet paper and the pasta and all of that. And maybe that's something else they should be thinking of doing as well for the elderly people. But there's so many things that we can do in our community to change and make people with disability and impairment feel more included. It's just a matter of getting the right things in place and doing some research. So I hope you enjoyed today. That is the webinar part 3, the untapped market. I hope it all made sense to you and you're sort of thinking about what changes you could make to your business, because right now is the time to untap some of these markets, because a lot of businesses are struggling and are going to need a new market to target at. And why not let it be people with disability and impairment? There's a lot of us out there, and we are all willing and loyal to come and use your business. So, if you have any questions, I will ask you now to head over to the 30-foot drop link, which is below this video, if you have any questions. I'm going to press pause on the video so that you guys can write any questions you might have. But if you do need to go, have a great day, and please, if you know anyone that you think would benefit from this webinar, send them over tonight. I will be doing it again tonight from home. And as well, join me tomorrow for our webinar part 4, which we will be going over the disability employment services and how to involve people with disability and impairment in your advertising. So I'm going to press pause now. If you have to go, thanks for joining me. Please make sure that you fill out the survey before you go, and I will see the rest of you in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Welcome back. So there's no questions this morning, which is fine. I hope you all enjoyed the webinar today. Please head over tomorrow and watch Tapping in Part 4 because it's a really, really interesting one. It's quite a long one tomorrow, so it's probably more the full hour. But anyway, that's me for this morning. And if you know anyone that may benefit from the webinars, please send them my way. You can book in so that you can get reminders, or we are on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Western Australia time. Okay, thanks very much. I will see you guys tonight. Bye.